welcome to our channel. Today we have 3 spine-chilling true horror stories that will make your blood run cold. These are stories whispered in the dead of night, tales that cling to the shadows, waiting to grab hold of you. Are you brave enough to face the darkness? Then turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and get ready to be terrified. Deep in the heart of a bustling city stood the Grand Blackwood Hotel, a relic of a bygone era, its grandeur now faded but still echoing the opulence of its prime. Within its walls, countless souls had sought refuge, seeking solace or adventure, but none of those stories were as chilling as the one that clung to room 104, a room shrouded in mystery and fear. The air hung heavy with the scent of mildew and dust as you stepped across the threshold, a sense of foreboding settling in. The temperature dropped, a noticeable chill seeping into your bones, as if the room itself was alive with a cold, unseen presence. This was not a place of rest, but a sanctuary of shadows, where the past refused to stay buried. They said a young woman, her heart shattered by a lover's betrayal, took her own life within those very walls, her sorrow forever imprinted on the room. Some whispered of flickering lights and disembodied whispers, voices that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once, of cold spots and the lingering scent of lilac, a fragrance that was both sweet and unsettling. One guest, a traveling salesman, claimed to have awakened in the dead of night, paralyzed with fear, unable to move or cry out, as an icy hand caressed his cheek, leaving him with a chill that lingered long after the touch had faded. Another, a young woman, swore she saw a spectral figure hovering at the foot of her bed, its eyes filled with sorrow and longing. But the most disturbing account involved a family passing through town, seeking shelter from an approaching storm, unaware of the room's dark history. The parents dismissed their young son's claims of a woman in white watching him from the corner of the room, thinking it was just his imagination. The following morning they discovered their son huddled beneath the covers, trembling and wide-eyed, clutching a child's doll he swore the woman had given him, a doll that seemed to radiate an eerie presence. The doll, old and porcelain, bore an uncanny resemblance to the woman in the faded photograph that hung on the wall, a haunting reminder of the room's tragic past. The family fled the hotel that very day, leaving behind their belongings and the unsettling doll, too frightened to stay another night. As the years passed, the stories continued to circulate, each one adding to the legend of room 104, a room that seemed to hold on to its secrets tightly. Housekeeping staff reported strange occurrences, objects moving on their own, as if guided by invisible hands, whispers echoing from the empty room, filling the silence with their ghostly presence. Some guests, drawn by morbid curiosity, would specifically request room 104, eager to experience the chilling phenomena firsthand, hoping to catch a glimpse of the supernatural. Most left shaken and disturbed, their skepticism shattered by the undeniable feeling of dread that permeated the room. So, the next time you find yourself checking into a grand old hotel, be wary of room 104, for its walls may hold more than just memories. The Hamilton family, seeking a fresh start, stumbled upon an old Victorian house, a relic of a bygone era. Eager to create new memories, they dismissed the whispers of the house's unsettling history, brushing off the tales as mere folklore. Little did they know their dream home harbored a secret, a darkness that slumbered within its attic, waiting to be awakened. The attic, a cavernous space shrouded in shadows, exuded an oppressive atmosphere, as if the very walls held onto the memories of the past. It began subtly, with the soft creaking of floorboards in the dead of night, a sound that seemed to echo through the entire house. Then came the whispers, faint and indistinct, always emanating from the attic above, growing louder with each passing night. The Hamilton children began to report fleeting glimpses of a shadowy figure lurking at the top of the stairs, a figure that seemed to vanish as quickly as it appeared. Their parents, initially dismissive, soon found themselves experiencing the unsettling phenomena firsthand, unable to ignore the growing sense of dread. Objects would vanish from their usual places only to reappear days later in the most unexpected locations. Doors would slam shut with no apparent breeze, as if an unseen force was making its presence known, and the whispers grew louder, more insistent, filling the house with an eerie, disembodied chatter. One evening, as the family gathered for dinner, the lights flickered and died, plunging the room into darkness. A cold wind swept through the dining room, and the unmistakable scent of damp earth filled the air, as if the ground itself had come alive. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream shattered the silence, echoing through the house and sending chills down their spines. When they finally managed to illuminate the room, they found their youngest daughter huddled in a corner, her eyes wide with terror. "He's here!" she whispered, her voice trembling with fear, her gaze fixed on the darkened doorway. The children's father, armed with a fireplace poker, cautiously ascended the stairs, his heart pounding in his chest. The attic door creaked open, revealing a scene that sent chills down his spine, a sight he would never forget. The air hung heavy with the scent of mildew and decay, a palpable reminder of the attic's long-forgotten past. And then he saw it, a shadowy figure huddled in the far corner, its presence both terrifying and sorrowful. The figure turned slowly, revealing the gaunt skeletal face of a man, eyes hollow and filled with an unspoken torment. The man opened his mouth as if to speak, but no sound emerged, only a silent plea for release. Suddenly the figure lunged, its skeletal fingers reaching out, desperate to make contact. The father stumbled backward and fled the attic, slamming the door shut behind him, his mind reeling from the encounter. From that day forward, the Hamilton family lived in a state of perpetual fear, their once peaceful home now a place of constant dread. Desperate for a solution, they sought the help of paranormal investigators, hoping to rid their home of the malevolent presence. The attic, they concluded, was a conduit, a portal to another realm, a gateway that had been opened long ago. In the end, the Hamilton family was left with an impossible choice: to remain in their haunted home or to abandon it, leaving behind their dreams and memories. Chapter 3. The Midnight Stalker. The oppressive weight of dread settled upon Sarah's chest each night as the clock ticked closer to midnight. It was as if an invisible hand was pressing down on her, making it hard to breathe. It began with an uneasy feeling, a prickling at the back of her neck, like she was being watched by unseen eyes. At first she dismissed it as an overactive imagination, a trick of the mind playing on her fears, but as the nights turned into weeks, the feeling intensified, growing stronger and more persistent. Every night as the witching hour approached, the temperature in her apartment would plummet, making her shiver uncontrollably. The shadows in her room would deepen, stretching and contorting into grotesque shapes that seemed to move on their own. And then, the sounds would begin, breaking the silence of the night. Faint at first, barely audible, the soft scratching sounds, like claws dragging across her window pane, would send chills down her spine. The rhythmic creaking of her floorboards, as if someone was pacing just outside her bedroom door, would follow, heightening her sense of dread. Sleep became an elusive dream, replaced by a state of heightened anxiety and constant vigilance. One night, as Sarah lay frozen in her bed, she felt a shift in the air, a change that made her heart race. The scratching at her window intensified, accompanied by a low, guttural growl that seemed to come from the depths of darkness. Terror surged through her, paralyzing her with fear, making it impossible to move or even scream. Then, as quickly as it began, the noise ceased, leaving behind an eerie silence that was almost more terrifying. Trembling, Sarah forced herself to get out of bed and peered out into the darkness, her eyes straining to see anything unusual. The street below was deserted, bathed in the eerie glow of a lone streetlight, casting long shadows that danced in the wind. There was no sign of anyone out of the ordinary, no indication of the source of her torment. But as Sarah turned away from the window, her gaze fell upon something that sent a fresh wave of terror washing over her, making her blood run cold. There, scrawled across her bedroom mirror, written in what appeared to be blood-red lipstick, were 3 chilling words: "I see you." Panic seized her, her mind racing with questions and fear. Who could have done this? How did they get into her apartment? Was it a prank, a cruel joke? But who would go to such lengths to torment her in this way? From that night forward, the nightly occurrences escalated, becoming more frequent and more terrifying. The scratching at her window became more insistent, more demanding, as if whatever was outside was desperate to get in. The growling sounds grew louder, closer, reverberating through the walls and filling her with dread. And the messages on her mirror became more frequent, more menacing, each one more terrifying than the last. Desperate for help, Sarah confided in her friends and family, but they dismissed her claims, thinking she was imagining things. The police were equally skeptical, attributing the events to vandalism or a prankster, offering little in the way of real help. But Sarah knew the truth. She could feel it in her bones, in the very air she breathed. She was being stalked, hunted by something evil, something that thrived in the darkness. And as the nights grew longer, Sarah realized with chilling certainty that she was running out of time, that the entity was closing in on her. One by one, she tried every remedy she could find, every suggestion offered by friends, family, and even strangers. She consulted with sleep specialists, seeking solace in medication and therapy, hoping for a reprieve from the nightly torment. She immersed herself in ancient rituals and protective charms, hoping to ward off the evil that haunted her. She even resorted to sleeping with all the lights on, hoping that the light would keep the darkness at bay. But nothing worked. The entity, relentless and cruel, continued its nightly torment, growing bolder and more aggressive with each passing night. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more terrifying tales. Remember, the shadows hold secrets, and the night whispers tales of horror to those who dare to listen. Sweet dreams, if you can sleep.